adjust this camera a little bit better here. Actually, it's my phone. I'm being really lazy this morning. We were gonna have, get together with morning coffee and all of that, and but then I found out I have some other things to do, so I have to do this fairly quickly. Good morning, everyone. I'm Roy Potter. This is the live stream version of the Potter Expositor. Today is the 24th of May, 2018. And like I said, I really had to run, but I wanted to do this because yeah, Comey's jailbait. Yeah, that's kind of what we're going to talk about this morning. Good morning, everybody, as you come in. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully, the sound is okay. Like I say, this is my phone. The connection seems to be all right, so maybe we'll be all right this morning. I just wanted to cover some things real fast. You know, for how many years now have I been calling for government, well, particularly, law enforcement agents, members of the intelligence community, those types of people to come forward. Good morning, everyone. To come forward and to do the right thing and to start blowing the whistle on the system and how corrupt it is. I keep hearing these things about all only a few FBI agents are bad, and of course Matt Bracken and I have disagreed, not with each other, but disagreed with that position that so many people have taken. That the FBI, the rank and file is good. It's just the upper levels and the special agents in charge on up of those types of people that are the problem. And of course, I've said no, that's not the case at all. But I have said, you guys that are the good guys and ladies, you got to come forward and start blowing the whistle. Well, in the last few days now, we've been seeing that there's information that there are FBI agents that want to get subpoenaed so that they can be forced to testify against the upper management of the FBI. I would hope that when this thing continues on, that not only do they get people like Comey and McCabe and Strzok and Page and Priestap, Baker, et cetera, but that they find these agents because that are not good, because the Obama people and the leftist Marxists have had a long time to infiltrate the FBI. As a matter of fact, the hiring processes of the FBI and the IC have gone against the principles of the Constitution of the United States. And what do I mean by that? I mean that they're looking for people who will subvert the Constitution of the United States and the safety, security of the American people. And we've seen that time and time again. Look at all the false flags that the FBI has been connected to, not just investigating, of course, but actually surrounding the circumstances, if not trying to pull it off, like the World Trade Center bombing in 2001 or two. I forget which year that was. 2002, I guess it was. Somewhere in there. But at any rate, all of our law enforcement and intelligence agencies have been permeated with evil, designing, corrupt people at all levels, and we really need to go and clean all of that out. The good people will know who they are because they'll come forward and they'll talk, and we're starting to see that, and that's what I've been begging for a long time. So I wanted to bring that up. That's a good sign, but it's also a troubling sign because remember, Comey made threats when he left the FBI against McCabe and others in a very shaded form. But the threat was there. Basically, you talk and you're going to pay the consequences. So, we're seeing some real problems here. There really is a war in the government. There really, really is. Okay, somebody mentioned the DOJ. Absolutely. Here we go again. Jeff Sessions allowed those documents to be redacted, and they weren't supposed to do that. And so, really, he should be fired at this moment by Trump. But Trump is going to let him play out and let him hang himself, I think, under this circumstance, and rightly so. I wish we could get rid of these people now. We wanted Rosenstein and Wray to get fired the other day, but I kind of figured that wasn't going to happen. But we'll see how this thing pans out. The good thing about this is that, for a long time as well, I've called for large numbers of congressional Republicans and Senate Republicans to come forward and stand with Trump. and we've seen little ones here and there, and a few have stood up. We've had Nunes and we've had Gates, we've had Jordan, etc. But look what happened here the other day. There were at least 10 of them, and maybe more, that were all standing together saying this thing is wicked, it's evil, the DOJ is corrupt, we need to clean the DOJ out, and they're standing with the president on it. It's about time, and hopefully more and more people will do that. They're risking some things because a lot of these people are dirty. I won't say how at this point, but most of us, know not the details, but the overall reason why they're so dirty. But we have got this core now that are coming out, and now the Senate, you lazy, crappy senators, where are you? Where are you? Why aren't you doing the same thing the House is and calling down the IC and the DOJ and the FBI? What's wrong with you? Stand with Trump on this thing and let's get this thing cleaned up. So I wanted to bring that up as well. Now, there are some problem areas that I'm seeing. As much as, and we could talk about North Korea, but I don't want to go there. I think this is bantering between Kim and Trump for position at the bargaining table. Okay, I wouldn't get too excited about what's going on there between Kim and Trump right now. I think that'll be ironed out in the end. I'm pretty sure it will. Let's hope so anyway. Trump, he showed he was willing to back off those military exercises. Kim may have tried to seize that as a sign of weakness, but that's not what Trump did it for. He did it as a good faith measure, and Kim better, and his Chinese overlords better not, mistake that in his New World Order overlords. That could go real bad real fast. So let's hope that gets ironed out. A lot of other things that are going on. I listened to American Intelligence Media the other day, and I tweeted it out. I didn't, and I also put it on this channel. I actually copied their video and put it on this channel. You need to go see that. Wow, it's really, really good. Michelle Miller, I think Kim and Trump is a smokescreen. Look, nothing that we're seeing is as it appears, and I agree with that. I still see the 5G network going forward and other problems like that. The spraying is absolutely out of control. It's absolutely out of control. The stratospheric aerosol injection, better known as chemtrails. So, but I can't expect, even if Trump is on our side 100%, there's no way he can do everything. He does have to take the rats in the government down. I've been adamant about that from the very start. I don't care how hard it is. I don't care what the obstructions are. That is an absolute necessity because so much evil in the world comes from Washington, D.C., okay? It really, really does. And he's got to get that cleaned up and no more excuses. And Jeff Sessions, as I said a long time ago, my Republican friend in California, he's agreed with me on this from the start that it's looking very, very likely that Jeff Sessions was planted by the deep state early on in the Trump campaign to infiltrate it, knowing from the very start that if Trump won, Sessions would be in there to cause a problem. And that's exactly what we've seen. And it's been unfortunate because, my Republican friend had nothing but accolades to say about Sessions prior to his recusal. And then, it's all been downhill from there. So at any rate, that's a problem area. Trump is doing things on the banking system and the credit card system and all of that, which are very important. And that's why I put that AIM video up. And AIM allows you to do that. They say that you can repost any of their videos, and that one was so good, I just had to put it up because it's about 45 minutes long, but in reality it's very succinct and it gets right to the point. So please go look at that. I'm worried about Syria. What are we doing bombing the Syrian army over on the east side? At least that's what we're hearing. Now, yeah, there's some problems with our alliance, I guess I'll say, with Israel in going along with anything they want, and that includes Saudi Arabia. Okay, I look at those as one unit. I don't look at those as separate, and I've talked about that before. But I also think that Trump might be allowing Netanyahu to have enough rope to hang himself, because Netanyahu is not a good guy, and I've said that for a long time. Nothing against Israel; it has a right to exist. I've always said that, but it's not the Israel that everybody thinks it is. It's not the biblical Israel. That's another subject. You've heard me talk about it before. My point here is that I'm going to give Trump, I have to really, what else am I going to do? I'm going to give Trump a little little leeway here on what's happening in Syria. We're probably not getting the whole story. When you look at everything else that Trump is doing, and I know I've been hard on him, and I'm watching this Syria thing. That's why I don't want to comment on it too much right now, because I don't feel like I have enough information. I'm just saying, there's a little amber light going off in my head. It's not red yet, but it's amber. Okay, and I'm looking at this saying, okay, what's happening here? So I'm going to wait before I get into that real deep. Okay, I think that's necessary to wait. I'm just saying that we've got to watch that, because I'm sick and tired of those poor Syrians getting the hell kicked out of them, and I mean the civilians and even the army. Uh, you know, we started that civil war in Syria at the behest of Israel and Saudi Arabia. And yes, I know Iran has been a problem. Yeah, Roy knows about Genie oil. Sure do. I sure do. And yeah, Trump could be looking at that. But like I say, I'm just not ready to comment on that yet. Okay, I'm just keeping an eye on it. Uh, if the Ayatollahs get kicked out by the Iranian people, I think a lot of problems will be resolved. Unfortunately, I don't want Iran to feel like that it has to get into the Western monetary system, the New World Order, and that is another problem. If as much as I dislike the Ayatollahs, at the same time, they're the ones that have really been keeping Iran out of the Western banking system. So we'll have to see. That's really the end result here, is trying to get Iran in the Western banking system, and I really don't want to see that. I hope the Iranian people, the Persians there, can really stand up against that. If they do, they're going to have another problem. But getting rid of the Ayatollahs is a great thing. We'll see how that works out. Uh, so at any rate, what I'm saying is I'm going to just hold back a little bit and watch what Trump does here. A lot of people say, well, you should have been doing that all along. No, frankly, I think the reason why he's moving forward is because he's seeing those in his base saying, Trump, you got to do what you promised to do. You got to stop the wars. You've got to stop the regime change. You got to do everything you can to collar Hillary Clinton and the cabal. And those are really the big issues. It wasn't even the economy in my regard, in my concern. I know that's a big thing, because if people aren't fed, then they can't take care of the other problems that come up. So that's kind of a give and take. But I think it's been overblown, the economy. Okay, really the problem is the cabal in the United States, particularly in New York and D.C. And of course the human trafficking problem, which is all the currency for those people. And you talk about that these days, and of course you risk getting censored or whatever, or shut down. Which, by the way, brings up tomorrow. I see a lot of people talking about it. It's very true. They're going to release the IG report, more of it, on a Friday, the worst possible day. I mentioned this a few days ago. It's a holiday weekend, and it's just ridiculous that they're going to do it on Friday. Plus the fact that on top of it, Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, well, not YouTube so much, but Twitter and Facebook are going to start their new shadow banning censorship tomorrow, and that could be a real problem for a lot of us as well. We're not going to be able to forward information like we've been able to. It's a way to shut down the information. So the war is very, very real. And where's Sessions? He should be filing antitrust violations. I know there's a problem with the web being controlled by the EU and the UN, but regardless, we need to take control of our own system, and it's really, really time. Even if we don't get information about what's happening overseas, what's happening in the United States, we need to have good information. And Trump hasn't, and Sessions, of course, haven't moved on that, and that's very, very bad. So I just want you to know I recognize it. Okay, and then I'm going to go. Like I said, I didn't want to take a lot of time here. I'd love to take questions, but actually, I was going to go out to breakfast and sit there at the restaurant and have breakfast with you, coffee, and talk. But some other things came up, and so I'm not going to be able to do that today. Okay. Uh, the other thing that I wanted to bring up, and I'm not going to mention anything in specific. You notice it's not going to be in the title here, but I'm going to make a fairly detailed explanation of what we've seen happen in one of our information sources here in this country, and it's not the only one, but it's important because it started in the conservative, supposedly in the conservative realm. So I'm going to talk just for a minute about what cultic dogma is. And let you know that in the future, probably in a week or so, whenever I can, we're going to sit down and I'm going to give you my experience with cultic behavior, when I was subjected to it, and how I had to get to the point where I understood what was happening and deal with it. Uh, Cultic dogma is what basically happens is, and I'm just being talking in very general terms here. You have a system, okay? You have an organization, an institution, or whatever, okay? And that organization, institution starts to go sideways for whatever reason against the principles it was originally set up on, okay? But that's what draws people in. Well, then what happens is people start seeing that there's a problem, and they start to come out of it, and they're looking for places to land. They go airborne and they're looking for a place to land. Well, that's when these other institutions or organizations pop up to take advantage of that. Sometimes it's controlled, by like the IC or whatever. Other times it's just, people seeing an opportunity. And my background on this is very specific about what I saw. I left the Mormon church because I saw some problem. Well, I've done this with a lot of churches. Religious organizations, in my opinion, have their purpose, but if the people aren't wary, it can turn on you. So I saw this in the Mormon church where, I started to find out, as a convert to the Mormon church, first of all, when I was in high school. And then I saw, and this is not the only cultic experience I've had, okay? And I don't really consider the Mormon church as the type of cult that we could really use this, but this is important to know about. So I saw these changes that they made and what they were doing. Well, these other they call them fundamentalists, basically, that then set up. Well, Mormonism is a cult in one way and not another, but I don't want to get into that. Where I ran into problem with the leaders, yeah, they were trying to push a cultic response against me at that point in time. But at any rate, so what happened is these other organizations, these other groups that mimicked the Mormon church started springing up. And this started way back actually it started in the 1800s, but it got really bad in the 40s and 50s and on. Well, what I saw, I never joined any of those groups, but what I did find out was that the reasons why people left the original organization eventually, if not very soon after their organization, started up in these groups. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So people would leave the major church. They would then go into these other groups that had sprung up, and there were a lot of them. And of course, everyone said that they were the true one, right? The right one that had all the priesthood and all the truth and all that stuff. And people start filtering to those. And then what happens is those groups get power, and then they start dictating to the people, and they start changing, and they start harassing people and doing the same things to them, okay, and encouraging them to be cultic in their behavior, just like the original organization that the people left in the first place. So, in other words, the situation they end up in is as bad as or worse than the one that they originally had. Do you see what I'm saying? And we're going to talk about that because I had, I'm not, I thought about, what should I call that? Should I call the psychology of cultic behavior? I'm not a psychologist, so that's probably not right. So what I'm going to approach it from is my real personal experience. And I've seen it also in the military. I've also seen it in police departments. It's everywhere, really, if you think about it. When you don't stand on principle, but you get hooked into personalities or to power, bad things happen. Okay? Yeah, I'm not religious in the sense that I belong to an institution. I believe in spirituality, and a lot of people, get all frustrated with that. And we've talked about it before, and I'm not going to get into it here. But I can guarantee you that even if you don't know anything about Jesus, if you emulate his personality, okay, not worship, even if you don't worship the personality of Jesus, if you have his principles in you, you're well on your way to the right thing, okay? And that's really what it's all about. All right, I'd love to take some questions, but today's a big day. A lot of things are happening here and elsewhere. You're going to be having a lot of people explaining what's coming up this weekend. This could be a big weekend. And you know that I'm always concerned about that things could go awry, okay? So keep your situational awareness up, keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground, make sure that you're Amen. Vaguely. Huh. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Obviously, I know what that means. Okay. Ab and Ab and And those are eternal principles. Ab and Thank you for bringing it up. And I will say Amen too. And that's, a lot of people say, oh, that's Egyptian. Well, no, it's not. It's actually an acronym. It's a, it's a Hebrew acronym, and I did an entire video on it about a year or two ago, where it's actually, well, go look at the video. You'll see what it is. I don't even know the name of it, but it's actually an acronym for, um, uh, well, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, kind of, but there's more to it than that. Anyway, we can talk about that later. So keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. God bless you. God bless the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America and the Second American Revolution. And God bless Donald Trump in all of his righteous, righteous, righteous endeavors. And may the spirit of discernment from the Lord come down upon him, showing him what is right and wrong, and may he have the courage to act on the good. All right. I got to go. I really do. But I didn't want to leave you alone this morning. Michelle Miller, Telling Truth. Shame on you. I don't know what that was about. I must have missed something. OIG report tomorrow? Yes. But I don't trust Huber. I don't trust Sessions. I don't trust Horowitz. This thing, you're going to see some problems with it. I guarantee you. It's just the nature of the thing. With the push by the congressional leaders, and if Trump can get some power behind it, this thing with Dan Coates, the director of national intelligence. I said I was going to say bye. There's something else going on here with the director of national intelligence being involved in all of this, and rightly so, and possibly, like I said, some military possible involvement. The DOJ has got to go down entirely. The CIA, I hope, goes down entirely. We need to destroy those things. Let military intelligence take over our safety and security, our intelligence operation, while we dismantle these 17 agencies, supposedly, but primarily the CIA, the FBI, etc. And we're gonna have to build them from the bottom up because they're just bad. We can't, you notice that Clapper and Hayden and all these guys are all concerned about the institutions. Um, there was a talk the other day. There was a speech the other day. I can't remember who did it. Maybe some of you will remember, but I was going to bring it up about I guess it was Comey, that the Constitution doesn't matter, that the institutions have to be saved. Wrong, wrong, wrong. The institutions are not even constitutional, but if they were going to be created by Congress, they need to be controlled by Congress and by the executive. They are not a law unto themselves. They are not the other government, and they've thought that for way too long. The DOJ is not independent of the president or the Congress. If anything, and it is. It's subject to them, whether these people that are so corrupt and evil realize it or not. Yeah, we can talk about non-human entities. I believe in bad spirits. I know Lionel doesn't, but I do for a lot of reasons. Okay, I think we're done. Yeah, people are more important than institutions. The institutions to serve the people, and if they don't, it's the wrong way, and it's tyranny. Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, everybody. I hope you have a great day. I might come back on, when something else really big happens or whatever. I'm really concerned about this IG report being redacted terribly, not really addressing the issue. Like I said, I worked with Huber. I kind of know where he's coming from. All these people are SES. You've heard American Intelligence Media and other people talk about this, Field McConnell, etc. There's a real problem here, and that's why Trump has to use something else to crush these wicked, evil people that are really responsible for our world being in such a mess, our country and our world. Okay, everybody, thanks. Have a great day. Okay, we'll see you later.